Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Rob. Good to see you. Been too long. Even though, you might look better on the screen. I got this great big new TV for Christmas, and you are a little scary on that. Like you are up front and big and personal, and you are a handsome devil, but like a little bit of Frank goes a long ways. A little bit of Rob goes a long ways as well. But good to have you back, and hope you're safe and well. I'm here a little bit blue collar today. Come in the office. It's hard to coach a hockey team via a Zoom call, so we come in regardless of what the weather's like, and so we're in here. But I got my warm sweatshirt on today. This is one from a long time ago. I got my ball cap on today. We're going a little bit blue collar, but we'll get through this. What can I do for you, my friend?
Hey, I was just curious, how did you handle the 2 weeks away from the rink?
To be honest with you, like I didn't get it. I think I'm one of, told maybe has the numbers 5, 6, 7 people that we're in it. We have our little club, and Tola's in the club, Marshy's in the club, I'm in the club for our staff that haven't got it. The rest of them all have. And yesterday I made all the guys stand up that didn't get it, and there wasn't many of them. And I went around and shook their hand and said, right now we're in a special club. Let's stay in that club. For the ones that haven't contracted COVID, the boys that and staff members and players that did go through it, luckily nobody got horribly sick with it. I don't believe anybody had to go see a doctor or anything. I think it was a matter, and the symptoms ranged from having a sore throat to having the sniffles to feeling fluish. But it didn't hit any of our guys hard. And okay, you ask, what have I been doing? Well, one of the things, travel agent, trying to rearrange travel. We had to. We've had to push back. We didn't know how far we'd have to push it back, but I had to communicate with the hotels and the bus companies and the airlines and everything on our upcoming trip out east. We settled on playing those games on Sunday and Monday, where we were going to play originally on Saturday and Sunday. We're not going to have a lot of practices. Some of our guys aren't going to have a lot of practices going in that. So, working on itineraries, working on travel. Another thing, Rob, that I've been doing a tremendous amount of this year, more than I ever have before, and it's kind of been forced, is recruiting. And we can't, being that the NCAA has a dead period going to April 15th, like we can't travel, we can't recruit, we can't have. We can't bring players in on campus visits, and so we're having to do everything on Zoom calls. And we're doing all of our evaluation over mediums like Flow Hockey or Hockey TV and that type of thing. And that was one of the reasons I bought a new TV for Christmas. A great big TV was to scout games. And I've been watching games all fall and all up until this point in time. And I watched a tremendous amount of them while I was home in quarantine for those 14 days. So doing a lot of scouting, watching players. We're having to make decisions on players, watching them on over the online mediums, internet, whatever. Also, we're forced. Obviously, we have to do a lot of get to know our recruits and their parents over phone calls and Zoom calls and things of that sort. And it's nobody can bring in anybody on campus visits, so it's kind of unusual. We're getting on calls, and we're trying to establish relationships with players and parents, and then we're offering them scholarships or scholarship slots, and all the schools are doing it this way. You're having to do that over Zoom calls with sometimes with people that you've never personally met, and it's really odd. It's almost like you're asking somebody to get married without having gone on a formal date yet. It's kind of weird, but it's what everybody's having to deal with. And once you explain that and you get into it, and obviously these people are, and their sons and their daughters and the parents are happy to be talking about opportunities, college opportunities for their children. But the way that we're forced to conduct business this year is so much different than it has in the past. And so I took a long route to answer a simple question. I've been working on team travel, I've been doing a lot of scouting online. Joe and Andy primarily have been doing the practice plans, but even then we didn't know when we could get started. So that was a moving target as well. And so there's things to do. There's always things for coaches to do.
Did most of the team get COVID? Is that what you were getting at?
Yes. Pretty much, like I said, everybody other than, and is it appropriate for me to say this, Toll? I mean, it's pretty well known. Yeah, I mean, it hit us, and it hit us hard enough where we were shut down for 2 weeks. And so, yes, a significant amount. And, whatever we have in our locker room, 28, 29 guys, all but I believe 6 or 7 have had it now. And going into this, I think only 3 guys had previously had it. So that's a large number. And then you had Rob Rush, Ben Kinney, Joe Doyle, Andy Berg from our staff all got it. The only staff members really that haven't yet, again, is Marshy and our trainer and Toll and their roommates. Jay Ritchie, and Jay was a roommate with one of our officer reps that hasn't had it, and then I, for some miraculous reason, didn't get it. Knock on wood, but again, that's the bad news. It shut us down for 2 weeks. The good news is nobody got horribly sick with it. I don't believe, to my knowledge, I don't believe anybody had to go see a doctor. It was they were diagnosed with it, and they went through the time. And now we're back. We had a little skate yesterday with the guys whose quarantine was up. Some guys got it on 2 weeks ago Monday, so they could skate yesterday. Some guys got it 2 weeks ago Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're going to be trickling guys back onto the ice as we go along here, and then. Also, after they go out and skate, we're limited to how much activity we can give them, and they want to monitor their heart rates and that type of thing because, in some cases, this virus attacks people's hearts, and we got to make sure that not only, are their symptoms gone and they've gone past, actually having COVID, but also the residual effects that. And one of them being the one front and center, the most important thing, making sure that and I don't. It's called myocopus, or there's a word for it. I just slaughtered it. I'm telling you, but there's a word for it, and there are a number of athletes that I know that have had some issues with that and have been shut down for longer periods of time.
You're still muted, Roland.
I apologize. Sorry, Coach. I was just looking at Bentley, and I was looking at that big forward Novak that they have, and I was wondering how you guys are going to go about stopping him. Is it just getting physical with him, or just trying to contain him? What do you do with him?
First of all, I want to thank you for not knowing how to get off mute, because like I am very technologically challenged, and just to know here we are with an experienced member of the media that does the same thing I do. Like that was, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was good for my self-esteem knowing that other people do what I do on every dang Zoom call. So thanks for covering that. As far as Novak going, he's a good hockey player, and Bentley has a lot of good hockey players. We don't have a lot of fresh video on them. I don't believe that they've played for 5 or 6 weeks. They're playing tonight. Toll, again, is that accurate?
December 19th.
They haven't played since when?
December 19th.
December 19th, okay? And it's almost February. So we've got some old video on them. We don't have much fresh video on them. To be able to answer your question and answer it honestly, like obviously Bentley, we're not going to have much time to prepare for Bentley. And right now, we're more concerned with our own game than we are so much with Bentley. Now, by the time we get to that game, there's some things we're going to want to know. We're going to have to talk to our team about, their forechecking tendencies, their special teams, things of that ilk. But as far as us right now, we want to get our guys back on the ice, get them all back on the ice. And we need to start, we need to practice, we need to polish up our game. And one of the things that being young and being thin, which we are, it's been well documented. We had some issues that have given us a very short and a very thin roster. And right now, we need to become more difficult to play against. We need to become better in our zone. We're given the given the opposition too many quality chances in a game. So right now, to be honest with you, our concerns, our immediate concerns right now is righting our ship and us getting better at what we do, and not so much our opposition, because like I said, until we get to be more difficult to play against, until we get to be better in our zone, getting out of our zone, covering people in our zone, obviously we want to spend less time in our zone. If we spend less time in our zone, if we're not in our zone, we're either in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone, and those are better places than playing in front of your goalie and having to defend the majority of the game. But no, Bentley, there are all the teams in our league right now. We've never been stronger. Our league from top to bottom has never been stronger. There's been a lot of grad transfers going into next year. They're allowing all the present players that are matriculating to have an extra year. So every kid that's in college hockey, except for the Ivies and the service academies, are going to get another year. There's things that are going to help make these teams even deeper. And the teams in our league are deep. They're even going to become deeper. And that's what we have to contend with. Obviously, we need to get better competitively as a team. And our play on the ice, we've got to become more difficult to play against, better in our zone, all those types of things. But yeah, he's a good player, Novak. He's a dynamite player, and there's no question that if Bentley has success in the series against us, he's going to play a big part in it.
Coach, you've never dealt with anything like this, kids coming back after having COVID, being off for 2 weeks. So how do you kind of ease them back, but yet you have a game on Friday? I guess accelerate the process, or do you?
No, right. First of all, we don't play till Sunday, so that helps a little bit. We don't play Friday; we play Sunday. And how do you deal with it? Well, to be honest with you, until I'm told by our medical people that if none of them have any heart issues, if they have heart issues, they're going to get shut down. And once we get the green light, we're going to be able to go full bore. I mean, these are high-level collegiate athletes. These are these young men are. They're fit and they're able, and as soon as we're given the green light, we're going to go hard. And obviously, as we near that game time on Sunday, we're not going to probably do as much on the night before, just like we would on a typical Thursday for our Friday game. Our Thursday is going to be Saturday going into Sunday. But no, we've got a very short time to prepare for these people. We want to get out and first thing, Rob, get rid of our sea legs. We want to make sure that when we go in there, our timing is going to be off. We haven't had a chance to work much with our systems of play or anything like that. We're going to be a little rusty in those areas, but I want to make sure that we're as ready and able as possible to be able to go and go up and down the ice with Bentley for 60 or 65 minutes, whatever it takes. But no, it's a. Have I ever? You say I haven't ever had to deal with this. Well, we've had to deal with a flu epidemic and maybe losing 4, 5, 6 players and something that's gone through our team. Nothing with the where you have to where these players have to be tested in detail like they have with COVID. And again, like some of this stuff, it makes it easy for us because it's out of our hands. Our medical people are going to tell us when this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy, when they can get on the ice. They're going to tell us that. And we're just hoping that we're going to start working with the group as they start to get approved for play, and when they get fully cleared, we're going to start working with the people that we can that are ready, and we're going to work them hard. And hey, all we can do is control what we can control, and we're on top of things. Our medical people are on top of things, and we were out on the ice yesterday. A bunch of guys were in the stands because they couldn't be on the ice. Some of the guys that were in the stands are going to be approved to be on the ice today. In a short period of time, some guys are going to be approved for full go, and there's going to be a special practice for those that are approved to go full go. And we're not going to wait till everybody's back before we do that. We're going to start to do it, with a trickle effect, and do the best we can, and then come Sunday. We're with the players that we have available, the puck is going to drop, and we're going to play, and we're going to compete, and we're going to do the best we can.
I'm curious, have you talked to any other coaches that's had to deal with this year? Because I know a lot of college hockey programs have had times where they've been put on pause.
Oh, yeah. And to be honest, they talked to a lot of them. And actually, the consensus is now, again, everybody's taking this serious. This is a very contagious disease, and it affects some people in horrible ways. And but the coaches I've talked to, if you're gonna get it, the way we got it is the best way to get it. Like, we all got it pretty much at once. Like some of the coaches, like Sacred Heart, to paraphrase C.J. Maritola, he said it's been like death by 1,000 cuts because they get a couple guys this week that contact trace their team and they shut them down. Then the next week they get a couple more. The next week they get a couple more, and they end up not being able to play. They've only played 3 or 4 games, I believe, up until this point. With us, we've pretty much got hit all at once, and I use the analogy, and I'm afraid of analogies because I don't want to sound insensitive or offend anybody, but back in the day when I was a kid and somebody in the neighborhood would get chicken pox, all of our mothers would have a chicken pox party, and they'd bring all the kids together, and everybody got it, and at the same time, and they got through it, and it was in the rearview mirror, and once you got it, you're immune to it, and it's done. And, for us, we didn't have any kind of COVID party. We were together on a bus, and I think that was, unavoidable. And I think that's where the majority of our guys, I think, contracted it. Somebody got it and carried it, and carried on the way back, because we never tested negative. We were tested twice when we were on the road. Nobody was tested positive when we were on the road. And then we flew home from Cleveland, and a very high majority of the people that ended up on our team, staff and players that contracted it, were on that Iron Lung. They were on that bus, on that Academy bus, coming back from Denver International. And I really think that's where, it really went to town, and that's where we got collectively infected.
I hate to be the master of the obvious. You kind of gave Kate some grief about this a couple weeks ago, but getting a win would probably cure everything, wouldn't it? Literally.
Rob, I've been doing this for a long time, since you were a little boy. Well, you still are a young, handsome, good-looking guy. But there is absolutely no substitute for winning. There is, you can talk about this, moral victories, this, that, your confidence, in terms of your mojo, your confidence, how you feel about yourself. People can say what they want. We fought a tough battle, and we've had this, and then we have too. We've had to play games, shorthanded, and we've had to play games against teams that have been rested just because that's when the only times we had to play those games with our back against the wall, and not making excuses. That's the way it is. But it doesn't really matter what the situation is when you go into a game. When you go into a game, you want to win that game. And if you don't win that game, you're not going to feel very good about it. There's no justification. A real athlete, a real competitor, they're not gonna just say, well, we had this, we had that, and use a bunch of excuses and not let it bother them. You're going to let it bother you because we're in this because we love to compete and we love to win. And there's no substitute for winning. And this group, moving forward, we want to be, come late February, early March, we want to be the team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs. And one thing is for certain, for us to be that team, we better dang well have experienced of how to win. We better have experienced a win and how to win, by that point in time. No, you're right on. You're a former athlete. You get it. You're a sports guy. There is absolutely zero substitute for winning.